From the Ubaid Lizard Man to the extremely long lives of the ancient kings, there are a lot of great mysteries from the ancient Mesopotamia. Here are your top 10 terrifying mysteries from ancient Mesopotamia. In our number 10 spot, we have the Ziggurats. Known as one of the earliest civilizations to exist, Mesopotamia is considered to be the site of some of the earliest developments from the Neolithic Revolution originating from 10,000 BC. Mesopotamia is a source of much inspiration for important human history, including the planting of the first cereal crops, the invention of the wheel, mathematics, agriculture, and much more. It was the home to the Sumerians and Akkadians in what we know as of present-day Iraq. The first known city, called Uruk, or Ur, was constructed in around 4500 BC by the Sumerians. They dominated this city from the beginning of written history in 3100 BC. They created structures called ziggurats that are pyramidal stepped towers that were used as temples during this time. These structures are massive and so detailed and complex that there is great wonder about them. The design of the Egyptian pyramids is said to be a possible evolution from the ziggurats. Much like the pyramids, there is much speculation as to how these gargantuan structures were built when you think about the fact that, well, they didn't have any of the equipment that modern day construction workers have. Not to mention that they just had seemingly evolved overnight from the Stone Age. Conspiracy theorists suspect aliens or a magical race that were way more advanced, and then somehow they were wiped out. Personally, I think they were magical aliens, clearly from Atlantis. Anyone with me? It's pretty terrifying to think that a magical race could have once existed and now we're left with this world. We're basically like that Disney movie Onward. We stopped using our magic and so now magic doesn't exist. Okay, I'll move on. Coming up in our number 9 spot, we have the Epic of Gilgamesh. Known as the earliest surviving literature as well as the second oldest religious text after pyramid texts, the Epic of Gilgamesh is a 3,000-lined poem written on clay tablets. It portrays the heroic actions of Gilgamesh, who is said to be the 5th king of the city of Ur. He was known to have the perfect body like that of Chris Hemsworth, and it is said that he also had supernatural powers. The people said that he was 2/3 god and 1/3 human and as strong as a bull. So basically Thor, aka Chris Hemsworth. Even with this text, there is much debate as to whether Gilgamesh was a real person. Some people believe him to be an alien, or he is perhaps a character from one of the first fictional stories written. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. In our number 8 spot, we have the ancient purse. The ancient gods were shown to look like they were holding purses in a lot of old depictions of them. Around the world, there are similar god depictions in places like Mexico and Turkey. All of them are holding something that looks like a handbag. There are many ancient texts that have said that the gods would bring knowledge in bags, and so many believe that this is what these ancient depictions are representing. But who really knows what terrifying things that could be in those bags? Perhaps they could hold seeds to create a lovely vegetable patch, or they could have held body parts of enemies past. You never know. In our number 7 spot, we have Cuneiform. The Cuneiform is a system of writing, one of the oldest ancient texts that was used for over 3,000 years. Cuneiform was essentially pictograms that would be written on clay tablets. The Sumerians would use this text to document their history, and many other civilizations would go on to use it as well. The Cuneiform was used until around 100 BC when the alphabet script became popular, but at its creation it was a massive step for mankind. When a scholar named George Smith from 1840 to 1876 translated the Epic of Gilgamesh, the world's understanding of history completely changed. We once relied on the Bible to understand much of history, when now we gained a deeper understanding as more and more cuneiform tablets would be interpreted. How this system seemingly birthed from nowhere is still a mystery. Could be pure human ingenuity. Most likely though, aliens. Are you seeing a pattern here? In our number 6 spot, we have the Ubaid Lizard Man. I'm sure at this point in your life you have heard the conspiracy theory about the lizard people on the planet. And if you haven't, then I dare you to go down that wormhole because it's a fascinating one. There's a very ancient piece of art that is called the Ubaid Lizard Man that portrays a man who looks like a lizard or some kind of reptile, and he is seemingly nursing a child in his arms. This figure is said to be from the Ubaidian culture that was a prehistoric culture in Mesopotamia between 4000 and 5500 BC. The people of this time lived in mud brick houses in villages. When this figure was found, it was found close to the city of Ur, and it is still a mystery to archaeologists as to what this figurine depicted about the culture of the time. Did this mean that lizard people lived among humans during this time? Does this mean they probably still do? Most likely. In our number 5 spot, we have the Enuma Elish. Found in the city of Nineveh in 1894, thousands of cuneiform tablets were discovered, and one of them was the Enuma Elish. The Enuma Elish is said to have stated the story of how the world was created, as well as man and the gods. It talks about how a god mixed blood and clay to create humans, and also talks about the Anunnaki, the gods that helped with the development of the Sumerians, and apparently helped humans evolve so that society could advance quicker. People speculate whether the Anunnaki were just aliens who visited the planet from another world and gifted humans with advanced intelligence, which honestly would explain how we went from living in mud brick houses to building the Ziggurats, but maybe that's just me. Perhaps the Anunnaki are really just the lizard people I spoke about earlier. The Anunnaki were often portrayed as antagonists in many ancient texts, so who knows? In our number 4 spot, we have History Unknown. As so much of the original civilization proof and documentation in Mesopotamia was lost over time and only recently rediscovered in the 19th century, there are still so many mysteries that have yet to be uncovered about the civilizations from this time. Until the discovery of the ancient city of Nineveh, no one quite knew how advanced the Sumerians were. We uncovered that they were extremely advanced when it came to mathematics and literature, and so that makes you think about what other areas that they could have been advanced in that we just don't know about yet. So many secrets and lies and lizard people sightings to uncover. In our number 3 spot, we have the Great Flood. Yes, we are talking about the story of Noah's Ark. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the ancient text I spoke about earlier, seems to depict a story just like Noah's Ark. In this version, the Anunnaki gods were quite mad at the sins of the people of the world at the time. But similar to the story in the book of Genesis, a god punished mankind by sending a catastrophic flood to wipe out humanity, and only one man was chosen to survive. He built a boat to hold himself and some animals and seeds and birds to be released after the flood. What's interesting is the Great Flood is said to be a myth, and yet it is seemingly depicted all around the world. As the Epic of Gilgamesh is so old, it is said that the Bible story was actually borrowed from it. In our number 2 spot, we have the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Babylon is a state in Mesopotamia, and it is said to be the home of the very famous Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Spoken about in many ancient texts, the Hanging Gardens is one of the wonders of the ancient world. It is believed to have been constructed by King Nebuchadnezzar. That's a hard one, folks. Nebuchadnezzar. Say that 5 times fast. I probably pronounced that wrong, but that's a hard one. He was known to be a powerful ruler, and it is said that he built the gardens for his wife. The gardens would have been constructed similar to a ziggurat, with plants and flowers hanging off of it. There is no actual archaeological findings that point to this ever existing besides ancient texts where it is talked about, and they seem to point to very mysterious things going on here. It is theorized that it was destroyed by earthquakes, but no one really knows. Finally, in our number 1 spot, we have Long Live the Kings. Another mysterious cuneiform tablet was found that has a list of Sumerian kings, 140 different kings to be exact. What is mysterious is that some of the kings lived extremely long lives. Lives that were so long that it almost makes you think they weren't human. Are we all just descendants of these lizard people, or maybe that's just the top 1%? Yes, I went there. It was said that the Sumerians were pretty advanced at the time, but if you lived till 40, then you were considered to have had a pretty good life. But on this list of kings, it says that some lived for tens of thousands of years. Apparently one known king named Alalnagar reigned for 36,000 years. Yeah, these kings were not human at all. Why isn't this talked about more? Clearly this is more proof of an alien race, but whatever. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. That's all the time I have for you today. I'm Melissa Melotti, and good day.